Alright, this video is going to be probably not allowed, but it's going to be about, we're going to make a buzzword. We're going to call it Lolitaphilia, right? Why is the Lolitaphilia so pop? Are you allowed to say that? That's probably worse. Maybe it'll get past the censors, though. Why is Lolitaphilia basically allowed today, and why is it so popular? And the simple answer is, it's a form of mind control, right? MK Ultra discovered the mind control potential of Lolitaphilia, right? Like, if you get someone into this stuff, you own them. This is what Epstein was. And this video is going to be talking about CIA special agents, Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Scully. Peter Scully, called the most evil lolitaphile of all time. And the name Peter Scully, of course, is a CIA pun. It translates to wee-wee scholar, right? Wee-wee, to get past the censors, like a wee-wee, Lolita, and whatever. And it's actually very obvious that Peter Scully was, obviously a CIA agent. He was not only part of, special operations, but he was also experimentation, right? They kind of merged their experimentation with their operation. They're just they're just psychopaths, like Jeffrey Dahmer's experiments with lobotomies, right? It's sort of just a sick perversion. Likewise, Peter Scully's obviously a twisted pervert, but, he's CIA. And the reason that Lolitaphilia, of course, is allowed is because it opens a whole world of possibility for mind control. But luckily, China just blocked out Epstein. They're like, we don't need Lolitaphilia here, We have Freudian. We know Freudians. We have Freud's books too. We love Marx. Of course, we're gonna look into Freud. We know what you're up to, CIA. But obviously, and also, the CIA invented the deep web, dark web. CIA invented the dark web. This is well known. They have their website on the dark web. And of course, the CIA are narcissistic. They really flaunt this stuff in your face. And I should also, before I move on to the dark web, Peter Scully, Australia, spent $500,000 in taxpayer money trying to free Peter Scully. And then when the guy who signed the bill was questioned about it, he said, oh, it was an accident. But that's $500,000 of taxpayer money spent trying to free the most evil lolitaphile of all time. Because he's a CIA agent, but he was in Cambodia or something. Likewise, the Swirl, right? The Swirl, he molested 300 little Asian kids. Basically, the CIA is completely destroying these Asian countries by molesting their kids. This is part of MK Ultra. And then once those kids are molested, they're going to become transgender or lolitaphiles themselves. And the Swirl, once he was locked away for 5 years in the Philippines and they sent him to Canada, they thought okay, Canada's going to do something. Canada let him free. Special Agent the Swirl, you're free. So this video is going to involve the Swirl too. It's going to be CIA special ops agents, Epstein, Peter Scully, the Swirl. Yes, the popularity of transgenderism and Lolitaphilia today is not a human natural thing. It's a pure invention of the CIA. It's pure mind control. It's because the thing about mind control, it only works if you lobotomize people, right? If you keep them dumb and stupid. If someone's like JFK, right? You can't get to them with Lolitaphilia or transgenderism or Judaism or Christianity even, right? JFK's too wise. So if you're like JFK and you're red pilling too many people, you're just going to get your brains blown out. Same thing with Charlie Kirk or Julian Assange, most of all Julian Assange. And it's sad that Julian Assange couldn't get to China somehow. But to continue on the dark web, supposedly the dark web, the CIA, everyone knows the CIA invented the dark web. That's not even hidden. Also, to speak on the puns of the CIA, Satoshi Nakamoto famously means Central Intelligence. It's not very sneaky. It's one of their narcissistic puns they do. Bitcoin is also CIA, because who cares about Bitcoin? It's not a, obviously, CIA agents like Sam Hyde's he's like could be fun. He's a CIA agent. He's a terrible person. Everyone knows he's evil. But he's like always promoting. He's like, oh, it's the next wheel. It's Bitcoin. CIA owns like 10% of it because they invented it. And the only reason it's popular is because the CIA can like make people buy any garbage. But China banned Bitcoin because they're like, we don't want the CIA garbage with these stupid Americans, CIA-controlled Americans. But to get back on topic, the dark web was created by the CIA. That's just common knowledge. But the reason they say they created the dark web, they're like, oh, we want people to be able to send us information from all over the world. And what's the dark web used for, right? Drug trafficking, Monero, Lolitaphilia, right? This Peter Scully is building empires on the dark web. The Swirl is building empires, and actually most of the CIA money comes from Lolitaphilia, as we see with Epstein, Peter Scully, the Swirl. And this is why the only people busting these Lolitaphiles are like random boomers, right, in like Arkansas or something, catching people trying to go on dates with 15-year-olds, while the actual Lolitaphiles are special agents of the CIA. Like, Lolitaphile is really the biggest invention of the CIA. This is how they make all their money, right? And so you could think like it's funny, like, wow, how obvious the CIA is, but then you realize like they're just like the CIA is just a Lolita ring, which rules the world, and an evil one. And of course this ties into the pizza code theory, like the pizza code, where pizza means not pizza, right? With obviously WikiLeaks, Assange did that. And then WikiLeaks is like, oh my god, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. Do you believe in WikiLeaks? And they lobotomized Assange, right? So what did Assange, Assange is like a prophet, right? He sacrificed himself just so I could, realize all this stuff, like surrounded by insane people. Like I'd say something like 20% of the USA civilization, like 30% of the people are straight up like corrupt, like they're going to be transgender or, addicted to some weird stuff, fetishized or whatever. The worst of all is Lolitaphile, which is, Prince Andrew got really caught with the CIA, right? But, that's why it's kind of legal. The CIA, basically the CIA's current, like, they wouldn't be so rich if they didn't have their Lolita thing. And it's so obvious, it's, like, terrible. Anyways, I'm trying to get this video to 10 minutes, but, I don't want to just say nothing, so I'm going to pause and see if I could think of anything else. Okay, I've thought of a major addition to this topic, which is like similar to my last video, like who's a victim of MKUltra regarding Lolitaphilia, and who are the agents? Like Jeffrey Epstein's clearly an agent, CIA agent. Peter Scully's the most CIA agent guy possible. And if you really wanna get an idea of what reality's like, convince yourself that Peter Scully is a CIA agent, because that's reality, and it might sound too hard to believe if you're like stupid. If you're just stupid and like dumb, but that's reality. It's also really obvious, like, yeah, $500K on accident of taxpayer money. And it's funny that they're spending taxpayer money. They could get some other guy to do it. They're like, okay, taxpayer, they own the taxpayer money, they're policymakers. But I'm thinking of, like, in history, like, Nabokov is the guy who wrote Lolita, and Thomas Pynchon famously had the Shirley Temple scene in Gravity's Rainbow. But I'd say, Thomas Pynchon famously exposed MKUltra, and he himself was probably a victim. Thomas Pynchon probably, fell for the Lolita trap a little bit, But that's back when it was Roman Polanski fell for the Lolita trap because the thing is people blame Hollywood. They say Hollywood is CIA, but in reality, like the greatest Hollywood movies, like Andrew Garfield movies, Pynchon's always talking about. These are anti-CIA. Like Pynchon and Hollywood were like same as me, right? And I actually come from Hollywood, so I have Hollywood roots, 40s Hollywood roots, right? But we were warning everyone about the CIA in Hollywood, and we got squashed. And now, maybe Hollywood is CIA controlled, but they really scapegoated us, right? And we built this country. CIA destroyed this country, and us in Hollywood, original Hollywood, we're the ones who built this country. We built the nuclear bomb, Jewish people. But yeah, Roman Polanski, he got trapped by MK Ultra. Thomas Pynchon and Nabokov probably got a little psyched out by MK Ultra. The greatest example of who got psyched out by MK Ultra is the greatest writer, modern writer of our time, William S. Burroughs. And Naked Lunch, if you read Naked Lunch, it's like this guy's just getting MK Ultra'd, and he also knows it. Like he's talking about the CIA fucking doing experiments on him the whole book. And he was actually like a big inspiration on Pynchon, but really like these great writers were just victims of the CIA before the CIA took complete control. So that's why in like 50s, 60s, 70s you have the greatest MK Ultra literature of all time. And then after that it's like then we have straight up whistleblowers who are just executed. But that's before CIA consolidated their power before they were able to suppress these great writers like Burroughs or Pynchon, right? And then, no one knows where Pynchon is. Pynchon's probably dead. But, I think Inherent Vice was a really good book about this stuff. But Naked Lunch is the greatest MK Ultra book of all time. Like, if you want to know what, the world is like, get a glimpse into it, that's the closest thing to an actual history book you'll read. Naked Lunch by William S. Burroughs. And obviously all these people on the internet, we have, like, Nick Fuentes, Sam Hyder, CIA agent, super obvious. Gypsy Crusader is not a CIA agent, but he's a useful idiot, right? Charlie Kirk kind of wasn't allowed. He kind of snuck into fame, right, by talking to 500. If you go shake hands with like 500,000 people, right, you're going to be famous and you can't really be suppressed, right? He was almost like a Jesus type figure. He talked to the people and he got killed. He wasn't allowed to get famous. And, Hollywood wasn't really like, Hollywood got famous in the 40s before the CIA was founded. And then once the CIA took control, Hollywood's like, fuck you, CIA. And, CIA destroyed Hollywood.